Check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. Good evening, everybody. It is your friendly neighborhood college and career counselor, Mr. Cook, here for our CCLR corner for tonight, April 19th, 2023. We're focusing on soft skills. I'm not going to tell you exactly what that is because we're about to talk about it. But I want to welcome all of you that are here this evening. Before we get started, let's review some of our housekeeping for tonight. Firstly, I want to make sure that you know that tonight's session is recorded. So if you jump on late tonight, you got to get off early, or if you know somebody that would benefit from this, you can go to the website by scanning the QR code. It'll take you to our archives of CCLR corners. We've been doing this since September of this year. We also did this all throughout last year. So you might find that there are other topics that are of interest to you outside of just soft skills, and you'll be able to go review those. The advantage tonight is that it's live, right? So you'll get to ask questions and get those questions answered. But should you scan the QR code, it'll take you here to the website where you can see we have the flyer that we always use for that. All you have to do is select the topic that jumps out at you, and it'll bring you right to that video recording. So you can use the flyer itself, or you can come down here to the actual listing of events and you can select those hyperlinks as well. Whichever ones work for you, we like to give you some options. So there you go, you have some options. In addition to that, there is Q&A that we always have set up. So you can jump on at any point in time throughout tonight's presentation and use the Q&A tab up at the right-hand portion of your screen. The way that this works is if you have questions, you can type those into the Q&A box. I see it behind the scenes, and I'll answer those questions there behind the scenes between us, send you that answer. But if I see that it's a question that continues to come in, I will publish that live and then I will answer that question live. So just so you know, any questions that come to me, they stay between us, unless I think that everybody just kind of needs to see that because there's a bunch of y'all asking that question, right? And then as always, we have Q&A, a live Q&A session at the very end of this. So just know that at the very end of this, I'm here and I'm on and you can ask me anything. We'll hold about 10 to 15 minutes for that. Unless there's no questions coming in, then we'll close out a bit early. But I want you to know that you can ask throughout the presentation, and then I'll make sure that there's time at the very end of this. You do have the option for all of my hearing impaired people that are out there. You can use the closed captioning. It's available. You can just click the CC logo at the bottom right hand of your screen. Or if English is not your native tongue, I want you to know that tonight's session is available in closed caption in Arabic, English, French, Haitian, Creole, Portuguese, and Spanish. So should you want to read along while this is being presented, you can select that CC logo at the bottom of your right screen. And it'll be translated for you. Now, before we get into tonight's presentation, I want to make sure that I introduce our person. I jumped to her and I shouldn't have. I should have introduced her first. So this is Mrs. Bergen. She's been a counselor here in Osceola County for quite some time. Actually, before I even first started as a counselor. She's worked centrally, she's worked east side, she's worked west side, and she's going to speak tonight to y'all about what exactly soft skills are and how they can benefit you even now while you're in high school, but really focusing on what happens after you leave high school and go off to the workforce or the military, or seeking to get yourself into college. So with no further ado, let's let Mrs. Bergen take the floor on this.
Hi friends, welcome. My name is Mrs. Bergen. I'm a college and career counselor and school counselor with the School District of Osceola County. Welcome to my presentation. Today we're going to talk about soft skills and how to be successful in the world around you. Today you're going to learn the definition of soft skills. I'm going to give some examples and give some questions for you to think about to personally use these skills in the workplace. For today's presentation, our workplace is going to be defined as any environment really, from school to work to home. Before I begin, I do want you to know that you already possess some of these skills. They can be learned through observation, of others or modeling from the people who are already in your life. There are also classes and books of these things, and it takes time to develop the ones that you might not be great at, but you've got this, so let's begin. Hard skills in the workplace are the skills that are tangible or you have been trained in with your formal education from high school or a college degree or technical programs. Soft skills in the workplace are the skills that you come in with, that you were born with, or that you've picked up along the way. Those such as manners, nonverbal communication, and character traits. Soft skills help you develop community in the workplace and connect with other humans. There are two types of communication, verbal and nonverbal. Let's start with verbal. Oxford Reference by University Press 2021 defines verbal communication as human interaction through the use of words or messages in linguistic form. Colloquial usage refers to speech, oral communication, especially face-to-face, but in academic usage it also includes mediated forms, written communication, and sometimes sign language. What does that mean? That means things that are said through speech or writing. Nonverbal communication, also defined by Oxford Reference, is a synonym for body language, any system of communication other than speech or writing. Why is that important? Well, the way you speak to others shows the value and commitment to the conversation. Using kind words but crossing your arms or rolling your eyes does not communicate that you're invested in what they have to say, or you're even interested in a conversation with them. It is important that your verbal and your nonverbal language are saying the same thing when having a conversation or sitting in the same room with somebody. There are tons of classes on communication, as the topic is very valuable in the environment, but we do not have time to go over these specific details, so a few strategies that might help you in a situation is to listen attentively. Look at the person that you're in the conversation with, keeping your arms loose to your side and not crossed. If you don't know where to put your hands or you get nervous, just put them in your pockets of your trousers or in the pockets of your blazer, and you should be fine. Leadership is not always being the boss. It can take the shape of having initiative to start a project, motivating your teammates, or speaking up when you have a solution to the problem. This is often seen when you are guiding a group of people. Teamwork, the idea that a group of people are playing a sport, doing a project, or solving a problem together. Although some people like to work alone, larger projects often require people to work as a team. This can look different for different personalities. Maybe each person works on one part of the project, and in the end, you put it together. Maybe a few people are not comfortable working alone, and they want to team up on their parts. When looking at a team, what does that mean to you? Are you a team player? Do you want to work on just one part and put it together at the end? Do you want to work with someone and do the whole thing together? Only you can answer that. Leading from a team is working as a team. Do you have respect with one another to have differing opinions? Do you have objectivity if someone wants to do something different than you? Are you willing to stop and talk about it? Again, questions. The next one is time management. There are tons of resources and classes on time management. From my perspective as a school counselor, the key is to have a plan. Knowing that the plan might be derailed, at least if you start with a plan, you can accomplish something throughout the day. Thinking about your day, the task, or project is where you want to start. Knowing that sending an email might only take a few minutes, but developing an outline or timeline for a project, that could take up to 2 meetings and 3 hours of your day. So you need to plan effectively and make sure that you allow enough time for each task. Again, as a school counselor, we can come into work and have to meet with 3 classes, a parent conference, and a virtual training for an hour. Realistically, it is doable, but laying out the calendar for the day helps to ensure that we arrive to all of the classes on time, our meetings are done on time, And we have a full hour to do our virtual learning. The free time in between can be left for posting notes of the meeting or scheduling something else for the next day. If a crisis happens, which we know it does, knowing who to contact to assist me with the crisis or having a backup person to go to our meeting is also helpful. The key is knowing how much time to plan and not overdoing it. Sometimes, even with the best plan in place, things go wrong. Time management is also knowing how to handle rescheduling, reflecting, and problem solving on the tasks that you missed or the inability to complete a task because of time constraints. My advice to you in this is that in the morning, you should always have a plan or plan the night before. That way you know what you're getting into the next day. In my personal life, our family has a meeting each night and we go over what type of homework we have, what's going on the next day, and then of course we have a meeting weekly to figure out all the tasks that need to happen. And it gets around a lot, but at least we try. The next one is about organization. Organization actually starts when you're a student in school. Either you keep your papers in a binder by class, all color-coded, or you don't. Either you pick up your room and everything has a spot, or it doesn't. However, as you progress through your adolescence, your teachers and parents try to train and guide you to make the decisions of organization. It is never too late to try. In the work environment, as well as school and home, you should do what you can to keep your things in place. If you have folders that have the project names on them at work, this will save you time when you need to an outline that you had or an email from like 3 weeks ago that you are working on and you have to go back and reference something. If you keep all of your drawing tools together in your desk drawer, then you can easily grab and go and run to a drafting meeting to help fix something if there's a problem there. If you keep all of your frequently called numbers in your phone, then when you need that number or you have to call a coworker on the fly, you have it there and you can ask your question and get all your answers. All of these examples can translate into all aspects of your life, making it easier to do tasks and quickly be productive. Life happens. There will always be a problem that needs to be solved. It can be as simple as what to have for lunch to something very serious. How you react to all of the problems is a part of the soft skill family. Being able to think about a problem and formulate a solution on the fly is also very valuable. Some people have a knack for that, while others, it does take longer to process. It's okay no matter what your personality is. The key is knowing how to react when the problem comes along, as well as how serious of a nature it is to decide how quickly you have to react. Again, something that comes with experience in situations that you are placed in. As a high school student, you might only be faced with problems of what to do on Friday night, should I go to the homecoming dance, or do I have to ask for help on my math homework? In the workplace, it could be as easy as what's for lunch, or knowing who to turn to for different problems that come up. If I worked in a department store, most of my answers are coworkers or the manager. If I was in a dentist office, it would be the office manager. At a school, we generally go to the administration. I am a very planned person. I end my day looking at the day ahead and planning out what I will do. I then start my day looking at multiple calendars and emails to make sure that I don't miss anything. However, oftentimes things happen and I'm thrown off my scheduled path. The best thing to do is to take my list with me, complete the distraction or assignment, and get back on my task list. Take it everywhere I go. As soon as possible, I get back on track. When I come to school, maybe, when you come to school, maybe your sporting game is postponed because of rain, or you have to manage through classes, notify your parent, you have to figure out how you're getting home from school because of that. Maybe you have a sub that you have an exam that you spent 6 hours studying for the night before, and all of a sudden it's postponed. No matter the issue, can you take the deep breath? Can you reflect and can you go with the flow? Do you get physically upset and it ruins the rest of your day and all of the encounters that you have until you get home? Reaction to setbacks is a soft skill that will benefit you when you have to think on the fly or be creative in problem solving. Stop, take a deep breath, reflect for a few moments, and then solve the problem. Try putting that into action the next time a setback requires you to be flexible or creative in finding a solution. To be effective and effective in the world of work, it is helpful to bring some characteristics to the table that are not necessarily taught in a classroom or book. Look around you. Watch others. Ask yourself, what do you like about some of the people that you think are successful? Conflict resolution is one of those skills that you also can pick up from others. Watch how good leaders do not escalate when someone gets loud with them. Conflict is bound to happen. The key is how you respond to it when it does. Are you the source of the disagreement? Are you calm? Can you listen to all sides objectively? Can you prevent it? Can you assist with problem solving? Maybe. Are you in a situation where you care or show you care for others in the workplace? This can be seen through your nonverbal communication when speaking to others and how you speak to others when confronted with conflict with others. It's smiling at others, saying hello, goodbye. It's genuinely listening to what they have to say. If you're doing all the talking, then you are not listening. Relationships should be 50-50, each person giving half to the other. Continuing with equity. Emotional intelligence includes social skills and knowing what you bring to the table with self-awareness. If you do not like to work with others, then you need to be aware of how much you can handle with others and still be kind and listen to as much as possible. I have a friend who is an independent introvert and naturally struggles with social skills. However, his self-awareness is high, so he knows how much he can do with others, and then when he needs to step away. He also knows who he can surround himself with and is intelligent in many topics, so he can talk about things that interest him, keep quiet and listen when other people talk about things that do not interest him, but he knows enough to give enough in a relationship to be 50-50. Social skills also does not mean that you have to be the smartest person talking the most or in a social interaction all the time. When you look at others who are successful, watch what they're doing, not what they're necessarily saying. Where are they standing in a crowd? Too close? No. How much are they speaking in the conversation? Half or more? Are they listening and acknowledging what others are saying? Are their arms crossed, their heads cocked to one side? And please do not tell me they are rolling their eyes. Watching what others do that are leading you is a good start to figuring out how to be socially acceptable in the group that you're around. It's okay to not be great in social skills. It is also a work in progress. It's also different depending on which group or environment you are in at the time. School is way different than home, which is different than your friends out at a football game on a Friday night. There are times that you'll be faced with something that you cannot do on your own. It might be a skilled trade that you need someone who is trained to do. It might be a project that you need a more experienced person to assist you with. Or it is something so large that you physically cannot do it on your own. Do you know who you need to turn to in order to get assistance? Do you know where to go to find the answer? I know, most of the answers are on Google. However, if there is an event at school that everyone is talking about, who do you ask? Where do you find the information? If you have a test in science tomorrow and you miss the class, who's going to help you with the notes so that you can study tonight? It's important to be resourceful, and that's a soft skill that some people are going to need a little more help with. When we talk about needing a little more help, I think that we also need to talk about feedback. So when you complete a task, it's also helpful for growth to get feedback. It's not always easy to hear that you did a good job, but you need to improve. instead of a great job. However, we get better when we're given this feedback. Hopefully the person giving your feedback delivers it with facts and kindness in a manner that does not create conflict in your relationship. If you're the one that has to give feedback, say it with kindness and think about how you would want to receive that information. No matter what situation you find yourself in, please be prepared and get the job done. Be responsible and respectful for others. Be kind, polite, and caring, and be a good listener. Thank you for listening today. This is just a very brief soft skills lesson. And here are the resources that I used. I definitely think that if you feel like you need to expand on any of these, talking to your school counselor or your college and career counselor would help. I also think that there's enough resources out there in classes. If you really want to dive into that, you can. And then when we talk about when you are moving on to the next step, always make sure you're mindful of watching what other people are doing. Thanks and have a great day.
We want to thank Mrs. Bergen for walking us through those soft skills. As you can see, they're not things that we talk about quite often directly, but they are things that are vital for your success, whether that's in life where you are right now, so school, relationships, the workplace, college, the military, whatever that is for you. So we wanted to make sure that we covered that, things for you to just kind of work on, to think about. And with that being said, I want to provide some time for some Q&A should you have any questions. And in this downtime, I want to bring your attention to a couple of things that you see on the screen. One in the bottom left-hand corner is a survey. It's about 7 questions. Help me help you by answering this survey. It just kind of informs what we're doing in our presentations. It helps us to make these that much better. So by you sharing your opinion, giving us your feedback, we'll be able to make those necessary adjustments. So if you'll scan that QR code right there on the bottom left-hand corner, answer those questions. And then if you want more information on the College and Career Life Readiness Corners, we talked about this at the very beginning. And it's more than just what's here in the corners. We have all things that are college and career life readiness related. So events that we have coming up within our district, if you want information on financial aid and scholarships, if you want more information specifically on our 4 E's, and those 4 E's are our pathways for students once they graduate. So a student will either enroll in a 4-year, 2-year technical college, they'll enlist in the military, they'll seek employment, or they'll take an intentional exploration year. We have all that information on our website, as well as information on dual enrollment and things of that nature. So want to make sure that you have that. And if you want to keep up with what's going on in the college and career field, I just want you to follow me. Not for me, but for you. I want to make sure that you get all the information that you need. The party really happens at Friendly Neighborhood CCC. That's where we really get down. So if you're on Instagram, I just want to invite you to follow. We do a Monday check-in so that you know what's going on every Monday, what's coming up for the week. And then we do Spotlight Fridays, where we spotlight student success, special events that may be going on or that have happened, and then scholarships, which is important for many of you. So we want to make sure that you get that information as well. And with that being said, I'm going to give some wait time for any questions that come in live. I'll give you about 2 minutes. If no questions come in, then we'll close out a little early tonight. But I want to thank y'all for hopping on this evening, for joining us, and let me give you those 2 minutes of wait time. Okay, we have about another minute of wait time. Okay, with that being said, again, thank y'all so much for joining us this evening. I hope you got all the information that you needed. I hope you used the resources here. And we just want to invite you to join us next Wednesday, April 26th, for our career spotlight that we've been doing all year. So if you want to learn more about the specific career that we'll be presenting that night, we want to invite you on, and using that QR code up in the upper right hand corner, that'll take you to the page where you can select the live event link for that. So with that being said, have a good night. We'll see you then.